when we set goals, when we're focused on a certain area, often people also confuse the symptoms with the cause. And it's easy in warfare, I'm sure, it's easy in business, it's easy in our personal lives to address symptoms and never get to the cause. How do you find your ability to break through those and nail down driving at the cause?
Yeah, I think there's a desire to deal with symptoms because often the cause is something we really don't want to deal with. You know, take society in America. We say, okay, we've got a problem with young people at a certain age with crime and drugs. And we go, wow, what do we do about that? Well, we'll increase our number of police and we will build more prisons. We will arrest the people who are doing wrong and we'll put them in prison. And someone says, well, are the people that bad? If you go back to the root cause, and the root cause usually begins very early in someone's life, and it's got to do with opportunity, it's got to do with education, it's got to do with all the things that shape people to success, also shape them to problems. But that problem set's really hard. That problem means we've got to change opportunity, which means we've got to give people who don't have as much opportunity now much better. We've got to fix education, which is a long-term process that costs money, takes huge lift. We've got to do those things. And that caused big problems because you had people down in different parts of the organization with no real clue of how it fit into the whole. And so they're, with good intentions, they're taking actions that are contrary to the outcome for the whole. So I became very much a believer in transparency. And I actually went through a period when I thought that things like the wiki phenomenon, with information will become self-correcting because you'll get the right answer, truth will come out, and then everybody will see the truth and they'll act more or less rationally to fix it. And I still, the idealistic part of me believes that. But what we found with transparency in its manifestation in modern life is a little different. One is transparency has started to throw so much information out, much of which is just absolutely irrelevant to everyone. I don't want to look at your Facebook page and see what you had for lunch. I don't care. I don't think anybody does.
You didn't have lunch at all.
No, that's right. I don't have a Facebook page either. But so there's a certain amount of information that just goes out there that confuses us because it's not important enough for communication. I go back to Ulysses S. Grant when he was leading Northern armies during the Civil War. He would handwrite many of his dispatches in a little book on pencil. So here is then a 3-star general sitting down and handwriting it. And they were extraordinarily clear, extraordinarily concise. And I think partly because he's sitting there handwriting this thing out and then sending it out. Whereas if he could word process something, the limits are not there. So then you get transparency where people can just start to pile a whole bunch of information out and ask us to curate it and figure out what's important and what isn't. Well, now we're also finding the challenge of figuring out what's true and what isn't, because we get information out there that just muddies the water to the degree where we really haven't achieved transparency. What we've achieved is this extraordinary amount of information of which some combination of it would achieve transparency, but we're not there yet. Maybe we will get there to where people can all have a shared contextual understanding of the situation and then they can act appropriately. Organizations can work toward that. I'm a great advocate of that. But I am much more cautious about how people pass information now. And I don't believe that all is better now, and even more is not better if you don't do it in a careful way, so that what transparency we share, and there should be a lot, is actually correct, timely, and relevant.